You stressed to me in the break that you're not an accountant. Even someone who works at a company like that you're a technical director.
I'm technical director.
You understand technicals. But before we get into how we can make filing a tax return easier, let's talk about people who definitely do get their tax returns in on time. And no wonder, given the fines. But Britain's top 10 taxpayers have been outlined by the Sunday Times over the weekend, and they paid a total of £1 billion in just income tax. Forget all the other taxes, just in income tax. And it's estimated the top 1% of earners in the UK will pay for 28% of all income tax. Correct. In the past tax year. It's a huge amount of money. Top in that is Stephen Rubin, who owns the family sportswear firm, the Pentland Group. No one's heard of them, but you have heard of JD Sports, which they earn £182 million paid in tax. Next on the list was the Coates family, led of course by Denise Coates, who established the online business Bet365 and is thought to be one of the UK's biggest individual taxpayers. Her personal income tax bill last year was £99 million. Imagine writing that cheque. And up third, the man who's become a hate figure for a lot of Remainers in the last week, Sir James Dyson. Of course, he recently announced he's moving his company's headquarters to Singapore. He was the third highest UK taxpayer, with his family paying in total £128 million last year. Huge sums of money. Hopefully, I suppose you want to be paying large amounts of income tax because it implies that you're earning a lot more money, but most of us won't have tax bills that big, will we, Mike?
Hopefully not, no. Not like I say, unless we're earning significant amounts of money, which would be nice.
Yes, we would. Yes, you would, perhaps wouldn't notice it. Now, this is the issue. I did my tax return last week, a little pat on the back. A year before then, I remember getting it done in November. Thought I was very chuffed with myself. We've all got this idea. The deadline's the 31st of Jan. So we're going to do it on the 30th. You can actually do your tax return on, the 6th of April?
You can actually technically file on the 6th of April if you've got all your information together.
You don't have to pay any money then?
No. You pay your money on the 31st of January. That doesn't change.
To put that in your diary?
Correct, yes.
But you've all the paperwork, all the information you've got, your P60, all of that stuff is all there on April the 6th?
It won't all be there on April the 6th. Some information trickles throughout the year. So middle of July, you should have everything you need.
So when it's quiet in the summer, you can get it done.
Yes.
Why do we all wait so long?
I wish you knew the answer to that, because then I would encourage people to file early.
Because presumably January is a nightmare for every accountancy firm, every tech firm dealing with this.
Oh, an absolute nightmare. HMRC's figures for last year was 45% of people filed the tax returns in January, which is a huge amount. Given there's 11 million tax returns a year filed, that's a massive number. And
so some 3 million of 11 million, leave it until this month plus.
Yes.
That is a huge number of people to deal with. So what do people need to actually get together? And why say people think like, I can't deal with it. Whenever I do my tax return, and I have got accountants as well, but I still have to provide the information.
Yes.
Actually, it never takes as long as I think it.
I think the key thing is to write a list of your income. Everybody knows what income they've received in the year. Do a little checklist.
I mean, you've got page slips.
You've got your pay slips, got P60s, you've got
invoices,
P11Ds, invoices if you're self-employed, or you've got property income. You keep, you're getting paid on a regular basis.
And presumably, you've got those kept in a drawer somewhere.
Should be somewhere, even in the bank account. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely, pieces of paper, or you can scan them. A whole host of ways of keeping records these days. So actually, do the checklist and gather the information together. Don't sit down to try and do tax return and then think, oh my word, I haven't got this piece of paper.
And then you're rifling through everything. I suppose a lot of it is keeping it all organised throughout the year, isn't it? So every time something comes in related to
file
that,
it away.
Just have a drawer. That's just where you put it.
Yeah, it's just common sense approach. Put it somewhere sensible.
And yet, common sense isn't that common.
No, and tax does scare people.
Well, I tell you what it is, and a lot of times I think I've got a bit of time, I can do this, and then your fear is that you're not, maybe you're a bit tired, or you've got other things to get on with, and you're not, haven't got this full attention, and your worry is you're going to get it wrong.
Correct.
But that's quite a big fear for people. I mean, you get fines for getting it in late. £100 a day, is it?
No, it's £100 for missing the 31st of January deadline.
Yeah.
Then it goes up to £10 a day after 3 months. So a maximum £900, and then it keeps going up every 3 months.
But it's also interest on any
interest.
Tax
3% interest on late tax, 5%.
But basically, it's not going to go away if it's late. You've just got to get it done.
Absolutely, you can submit it, and if you do spot a mistake, you can correct that mistake as well.
You can?
You can, yes. You've got until, so for example, the 31st of January 2019 deadline. If you make a mistake and spot that mistake, you've got 1 year in which to correct it and resubmit your tax return to HMRC.
And they can't do you for it.
They will charge you any extra tax that may be due and any interest due on that tax if it was late. But actually, you can make an amendment.
I do think that's quite a big fear for a lot of people. But again, I think an awful lot of it now, especially as often people have payments which are just online or they're on paper. I mean, is it easier to just go fully online if you can, or fully on? I mean, sort of split them down the middle, or what?
I think fully online is the way that everything's going. HMRC are introducing MTD, which is making tax digital. The first tranche of that is for VAT in April 2019. Individuals are going to be brought into that possibly 2021-22. So in the future, everything is going to be digital. So I would start getting that transformation ready now.
Start
the
doing
transformation now, then it won't become such a culture shock.
Yes, and so what does your company do that makes it simpler and easier?
Well, our software is designed for the individual who hasn't got an accountant. So we try not to use jargon. We try not to use HMRC terminology. If we want your employment income, we ask for employment income. We're just taking away that stress and the unknown.
There is a lot of jargon, isn't there?
There's an awful lot of jargon. Sometimes you can't escape the jargon, but wherever possible, plain English.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, one of the keys as well is that people, maybe they do want help, seeking help. They're trying to call HMRC at this time.
Correct.
You're going to be sitting on that phone for a very long time.
I think average wait time is at 30 minutes. Somebody was reporting this week.
And that's after the phone's been answered, so you're paying for the call as well.
Correct. Unless you're an MP, apparently there's a hotline for MPs.
Yeah, as we were discussing earlier, they've got hotlines for everything. If only they had to deal with what we had to deal with. Exactly. Okay, so get it done. But you can go to GoSimpleTax. Mike Parks is a technical director, voted the best financial startup at the Financial Innovation Awards, and that'll help people to get that tax return done. But don't leave it till Thursday.
No, please don't.
for Mike, that's the new campaign. For Mike's sake,
please
don't leave it till Thursday. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Coming up.